Why self-worth can't be assumed in youth development. In youth-serving systems, self-worth is often assumed. We assume that if a young person is receiving treatment, support, and structure, their sense of self will improve alongside their behavior. But self-worth is not automatic, and when it is not intentionally addressed, it becomes a risk factor. Low self-worth quietly influences nearly every area of a young person's life. It shapes how they choose relationships. It affects how they respond to authority and feedback. It impacts how they approach school, work, and long-term goals. And it determines whether they believe effort is worth it in the first place. When a young person does not believe they are valuable or capable, their decisions often reflect that belief. They may settle for unhealthy relationships because they do not feel worthy of better. They may disengage from opportunities because failure feels inevitable. They may avoid responsibility, not out of defiance, but out of fear that they will confirm what they already believe about themselves. In residential and treatment settings, this often shows up in familiar ways. Youth may appear resistant, unmotivated, or inconsistent. They may comply short-term, but struggle to sustain change. They may intellectually understand the skills being taught, yet fail to apply them when it matters most. This is not a lack of information. It is a lack of internal belief. Positive youth development frameworks emphasize that healthy outcomes are built by strengthening internal assets, including identity, agency, and a sense of purpose. Self-worth is foundational to all three. Without it, skills remain external, goals feel unrealistic, and long-term planning feels disconnected from reality. When self-worth is low, the future can feel inaccessible. Career paths feel not for people like me. Healthy relationships feel unfamiliar or undeserved. Personal responsibility feels heavy rather than empowering. This is why self-worth cannot be treated as a byproduct of programming. It must be intentionally taught. When youth begin to see themselves as capable, valuable, and allowed to grow, their behavior shifts naturally. They engage more meaningfully. They take ownership of decisions. They begin making choices that align with who they want to become, not just what helps them get through the moment. Addressing self-worth is not an add-on to youth development. It is a protective factor. And when self-worth is intentionally cultivated, positive youth development is no longer theoretical. It becomes visible in how youth think, choose, and move forward. This understanding is central to the Self-Worth Cultivation Program. It was designed to address self-worth directly, rather than assuming it will develop on its own. Because when self-worth is strengthened, every other intervention has a greater chance to take hold. Belief shapes decisions, and decisions shape outcomes.